Hey guys, it's Lauren, and today I'm going to talk about how to develop this newly popularized aesthetic Instagram style, which includes transitions and overlays. Alright, let's get right into it. So before we actually start anything, I want to change the frame rate of my composition. I want to do this to provide a more rustic and vintage effect for this style. Just for reference, here's the difference between an edit in 30 frames per second versus an edit in 15 frames per second. So to do so, just go up to composition, composition settings, and right here where it says frame rate, just type in 15. So now we want to add two effects that are going to be present throughout all of our clips. These effects are S-shake and S-flicker. As you can see, it makes the video shake a little bit and adds sort of like a black strobe light. So since we want this to last throughout all of our clips and we don't want to apply it to just one clip specifically, we're going to add it to an adjustment layer. So just go up to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer. Then in Effects and Presets, I'm going to look up S_shake. Then I'm just going to drag this into my adjustment layer. Make sure to click right here to enable motion blur, and I'm going to change the amplitude from 1 to 0.2. So it'll look like this. Now, again in Effects and Presets, look up S_flicker, and again add that to your adjustment layer. Now change the amplitude to 0.15. And as you can see, it provides this really cool aesthetic look. So now, as I show you how to execute transitions and add overlays, you want to add everything so it's below the adjustment layer. So you always want the adjustment layer to be on the very top. All right, let's get into our transitions. So this first transition we have is this mass photo pop-up with halftone. So for this, I'm using 4 clips. The clip on the very bottom is my background clip, which is this one. And then as I scroll through my timeline, you can see I have 3 mass photos. However, I all have them starting at different times for this effect. I actually masked these photos on a phone app called Superimpose. As you can see, I can just erase the background with my brush tool, and I can also use this magic wand tool to get rid of all the dark colors. But if you want to mask on After Effects, you can of course use our pen tool, or you can use the Rotobrush tool. I've shown you guys how to use both of these things on numerous occasions, so I'm not going to go through it again. But if you don't know how to mask, you can just refer back to my older videos. And at the top, of course, we have our adjustment layer with S-shake and S-flicker. So first, in Effects and Presets, I'm going to look up Drop Shadow, and I'm going to add it to only one of my masked photos, so I'm just going to choose the first masked photo. Then I'm going to change the distance and the softness to around 30. Click right here where it says Drop Shadow and hit Command-C on your keyboard to copy it. Then highlight your other 2 masked photos and hit Command-V on your keyboard to paste. So now you have Drop Shadow on all your masked clips. Now go back to Effects and Presets and look up Halftone. This is also a Sapphire plugin. Again, I'm just going to drag this into only one of my masked clips. I'm choosing the first one. Then change the dot's frequency to 90. Just like we did last time, click on where it says Halftone and hit Command-C to copy the effect. Then highlight your other 2 masked photos and hit Command-V to paste. And this is what it should look like. So now we're going to do a pop-up masked photo with a vertical and horizontal S-shake and a white border. So for this, I of course have my background photo, I have one masked photo, and on the very top, I have my adjustment layer with flicker and shake. So primarily, click on the photo on the very bottom of your timeline, so that's the background photo. Then go to Layer, New, Solid, and make sure the color of your solid is white. Now we want to mask the solid so that it fits the shape of our mask, but we want the edges to be very straight and sharp. So I'm just going to go on over to Tools and select my pen tool, and I'm just going to start masking it to fit the shape of my mask. As you can see, this is not a very soft mask, it's very sharp because again, we want that rustic vintage look. Now I'm going to go back to my pointer tool. Just like last time in Effects and Presets, I'm going to look up Drop Shadow, and I'm going to add that to my mask clip. And again, I'm going to change the distance and softness to around 30. Now I'm going to pre-compose our mask clip and our white solid together. So just highlight both of them, right click, then click on Pre-compose, and make sure you're clicked on this circle and this square. So now in Effects and Presets, look up S-shake, and add that to the new pre-composed clip. Make sure to enable motion blur, and for where it says reflect for wrap X and wrap Y, you want to change this to no. So first, let's start off with the vertical shake. So for this, we want to disable all of the shakes except for the Y shake. So just carrot down on S shake and change this first value from 72 to 0. If you carrot down on Z shake, you can see it's already at 0, so we don't have to change that. And lastly, for tilt shake, just change the tilt from 5 to 0. So now we only have vertical movement. Next, I'm going to change the motion blur length to 3. Alright, now let's add some keyframes. So at the very beginning of the clip, add a keyframe for amplitude and change it to around 10. You can either increase or decrease this value depending on how intense you want the shake to be. Then drag your time indicator forward a couple of frames to where you want the shake to end. I only moved it forward about 5 frames because I don't want it to last that long. And bring your amplitude back to 0. And this is what it should look like. Now for the horizontal shake, all you have to do is disable your Y shake and turn on your X shake. So I'm going to carry it down on my Y shake and change it from 36 to 0. Then I'm going to carry it down on my X shake and change it to around 50. And this is what it should look like. Next, we're gonna do this photo uncurl. So for this, of course, you want your adjustment layer on top. Then right under that, you want the photo that you want to uncurl. And then right under that, you want the photo that you're gonna use for your background. So first off, in effects and presets, I'm gonna look up page turn. And I'm gonna add that to the clip in the middle or the clip that's going to uncurl. I'm gonna change this from bottom right corner to bottom left corner. But you can put this wherever you want. You can put it in the top right corner, in the top left corner, etc. At the very beginning of the clip, I'm going to grab this little dot and I'm going to drag it towards the top right of my clip so that it's pretty folded over. Then I'm going to add a keyframe for fold position to keep it at this position. Then I'm going to drag my time indicator forward to when I want it to stop uncurling. And I'm going to drag this little dot towards the bottom left corner, but I still want to keep it a little curled. Then hit U on your keyboard to view these keyframes. Highlight both of them, right-click on one of them, then go to Keyframe Assistant, Easy Ease, then go to your graph editor. I like to edit this using speed graph, so if your graph doesn't look like mine, just click here and click on Edit Speed Graph. So what we're going to do is move both of these knobs towards the left, but we do not want to pull them all the way to the left. I'm really only going to pull them slightly so that there's still a curve to my graph. It should look something like this. Make sure you're still clicked on this clip and hit S on your keyboard to go to scale. At the very beginning, add a keyframe and make this around 30. Drag your time indicator to where your second keyframe is for the fold position. And right here is where we're also going to add our second scale value. For this, bring the scale to 70. Easy ease these keyframes. And go to your graph editor. This time I want to use value graph, so I'm just going to click right here and click on Edit Value Graph. Then just follow my graph. Now hit R on your keyboard to go to rotation. At the very beginning, add a keyframe and make this around 70 degrees. Then just like we did last time, hit U on your keyboard to view the rest of your keyframes. Then drag your time indicator to where your second keyframes are for both fold position and scale, so we can also add our second rotation keyframe here. And for the rotation, we're going to bring it back to 0. Easy ease your keyframes. And go to your graph editor. Follow my graph. Now, however, we're going to drag this bottom dot a little bit low, so it kind of dips below this equator type thing. So basically, as our clip is coming out of that 70-degree rotation, it's going to go a little bit negative before it goes back to 0. And this is what it should look like. Next, we have the reverse squeeze warp. So of course you want your adjustment layer on top, then you want 2 clips on your timeline and you want them arranged like this. So primarily in effects and presets, look up motion tile and just add that to your first clip only. Change the output width and height to 250. And make sure to enable mirror edges. Click on where it says motion tile and hit Command C to copy the effect. Then click on your second clip and hit Command V to paste the effect. Now in effects and presets, look up warp and add it to both of your clips. Starting with our first clip where it says warp style, you want to change it from arc to squeeze. Then towards the beginning of your clip, add a keyframe for bend and make it 0. Hit O on your keyboard to go to the end of the clip and change this bend to around -60. Hit U on your keyboard to view these keyframes. Easy ease them. Then go to your graph editor. I'm going to edit this in terms of speed graph, so I'm just going to switch to speed graph and just follow my graph. Now after your graph looks like this, you want to hold down on this little square right here and drag it up above the dotted line so that it gets squished inward before it goes outwards. Now moving on to our second clip. Just like our last clip, you want to change the warp style from arc to squeeze. At the very beginning, add a keyframe for bend, and this time make it +60. Again, hit O on your keyboard to go to the end of the clip, and bring the bend back to 0. Hit U on your keyboard to view your keyframes and easy ease them. Then go to your graph editor and follow my graph. And this is what it should look like. And lastly, for our transitions, we're going to do the classic vertical and horizontal S-shake between 2 photos. So for this, you want the same setup as last time. You want your adjustment layer on top, and you want 2 clips arranged like this. So first, what we're going to do is actually remove S-shake from our adjustment layer, and then pre-compose your 2 clips together. Now in effects and presets, look up motion tile, and add that to your new pre-composed clip. Just like last time, change the output width and height to 250, and make sure to enable mirror edges. Now look up S-Shake in Effects and Presets, and again add that to your pre-composed clip. Make sure to enable motion blur, change the motion blur length to around 3, and most importantly, change your phase to around 5. So starting off with the vertical shake, make sure to disable all of the shakes except for the Y shake. Now drag your time indicator a few frames before your second clip, so I'm going to do about right here, and add a keyframe for amplitude. Change this to 0. Then drag your time indicator to the very first frame of your second clip, and change the amplitude to 10. Lastly, drag your time indicator forward a couple more frames, and bring the amplitude back to 0. Hit U on your keyboard to view these keyframes, and easy ease them. Then go to your graph editor and follow my graph. We're going to push this curve to the right and this curve to the left. And this is what it should look like. Now if we want to do a horizontal shake, just re-enable the X shake and disable the Y shake. So I'm going to carry it down on X shake and change the amplitude back to 72. Then I'm going to carry it down on Y shake and change the amplitude to 0. And this is what it should look like. Alright, now let's talk overlays. These are a huge part to the aesthetic style. So in the description, in the form of a mega link, I have provided you a ton of aesthetic overlays. This includes light leaks, fireworks, stars, glitters, glows, etc. And the way in which you apply them is the same for all of the overlays. So for this example, I'm just going to drag a light leaks overlay into my timeline right under my adjustment layer. And all you have to do is right click, go to blending mode, and click on screen. And this is what it should look like. Again, you can do this with all overlays with a black background. However, the only overlay that requires a separate tutorial is this glitch overlay. Primarily, just download this glitch stock overlay that I provided in the description, of course in the form of a mega link, and I'm just going to drag that into my timeline. Then again, I'm going to drag it so it's below the adjustment layer. I'm going to hit S on my keyboard to increase the scale so it fits the frame of my composition. And then I'm going to click on this little eye so that we can't see it on our composition. Now in Effects and Presets, look up Displacement Map and add that to your photo, not the glitch footage. Click right here and change it to the glitch stock overlay. And this is what it should look like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful. Bye!